Get started. Call to order for the regular call meeting Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024, Monteagle Municipal Regional Planning Commission. Roll call: Richard Black. Here. Greg Maloof. Here. Dan Sargent. Here. Dan Brown. Here. Alec Mosey. Here. Katie Trahan.
Here.
All present. The minutes from the previous meeting. Do we have comments or do we get approval?
I move we approve the minutes as submitted.
Second. Alec first. Richard second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Any staff and community reports?
Not currently. I do not have any.
Old business. Rezoning of Grundy County Tax Map 101, parcel 084.46 from C2 to R3 from Mr. Jesse Goodman.
Just over there.
Yes, that's correct. I'm requesting rezoning for the parcel in question there.
Okay.
I did have a soil testing done. The site is viable without the access of sewer, so I am requesting that zoning change.
Okay, Mr. Goodman, we discussed this. We changed the zoning on this before you were involved, and you've asked us to change it twice now, and we don't have a problem working with you at all. We just want to know the intentions of what you're going to do on the property before we change it again.
Absolutely. So originally my plan was going to be to develop townhomes. That's not viable due to sewer capacity, as density would not allow that. So with the soils testing, the plan is to subdivide into a couple of lots. Per your subdivision regulations, the smallest I can make the lot to the septic systems is a ½ acre. Mm-hmm. So of the soil testing, 4.5 acres was viable, so that would make, rough by the time you get a road in there, about 8 lots.
Commissioners, comments?
I'm sorry, how many lots did you come up with the,
It would be about 8 lots.
and when you say you did soil testing, that means it perks for a septic tank and fields?
Yes, sir. And I could have copies of those reports to you all as appropriate. You know, if the zoning is
That'll take place with the building permit process, not with us.
right.
And the 8 lots will house or hold a single-family dwelling?
3 to 4 bedrooms for each lot is what I was told by Mr. Tim Baxter, a soil scientist, is who did the testing.
Okay, that's fine.
So I have a high intensity soil map. It's not a preliminary map, it's an actual high intensity soil map.
No, but what I'm trying to get to is it 3 or 4 bedroom, single-family homes?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Standalone structures, single family.
Thank you.
Further questions, comments?
Well, I mean, my concern is what Ed said previously. This was R3, I believe, before. We changed it to when Mr. Tate owned it. I believe that's who you bought it from.
Yes,
I
sir.
assume. What other hurdles do you have?
None.
None.
This solves the problem. I mean, the sewer access was, the reason I needed sewer was due to density. Right, to build townhomes, you're gonna get a lot more than 8 houses, right? You're gonna have quite a bit of capacity for a sewer system. That's not possible due to the sewer being at capacity per your guys' engineer. Therefore, that leaves me with soil testing, which was done, which would allow me to subdivide and build. So realistically, if zoning's changed, I could have a site plan by the end of the month, pending engineering schedule, of course. You know, I mean, I have to go through the plat process, et cetera.
Well, you understand if we change it back to commercial, that to residential, that's,
Yes, totally understand that I have to use
and
it.
it may be your only option at this point, unless Tracy City can salvage with sewage at some point in time.
Right, I don't need any sewer access at all with the current plan. The soil is viable, like I said, I can put septic permit, I'll get the permits from the state to have septic systems installed on 8 lots pretty easily from, and that's not me just making that up, that's me talking to Mr. Tim Baxter, who is a registered soil scientist on the state website, so.
Well, 2 things. He's held that position for quite a long time, so I'm sure he's familiar with everything. The other thing I ask, and I know it will come up in the future, But there was some issue with Mr. Tate having a road cut from either the side road or the highway. Do you envision any highway cut?
No, the planned access to this site will be on England Road. We will not be attempting to be on the highway there. Plan to use the county road. And Mr. Tate had some issues, I think. His came down to financial feasibility. I don't think he had any issues with construction. It came down to financial feasibility.
Well, my understanding was there were a couple of issues, but be that as it may, I just want to know
Yeah.
traffic-wise. So
Absolutely.
you're looking at Ingman Road only.
Right, Engman Road only, most likely going to be a cul-de-sac.
Thank you.
I'll listen to engineering and their recommendation, but judging by the topography, it looks like it's going to be a cul-de-sac.
Thank you.
And just make sure that you understand that the road that you build will have to build up to city road standards, and so it'll have to be a public road.
Yes, absolutely.
Then you'll put the bond, and then once it's finished, the city will take over it, but it
Right.
has to be up to city road standards.
Absolutely, I was reading, it seems to be the private road is 22 foot with a 40-foot cul-de-sac. I'm familiar with the zoning ordinance as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Further
it-
comments,
it-
questions?
Just
Yeah,
also
it's-
reiterate that it would fall under the subdivision, because you are subdividing, it would fall under the preliminary and final plat regulations. So that's really, it's mainly going to be the subdivision regulations that we're going to be referring to. Zoning will be for acreage and, any uses that are allowed there. But from a subdividing the property, putting the road, utilities, we're going to be referencing the subdivision regulations.
Absolutely.
Jonathan, since we had the rationale to change it to commercial a year ago, and I guess it wasn't spot zoning then, so now changing it back.
I mean, R3 allows for both high density, so you can put townhomes, apartment stuff. It also allows for single family. If you look at the surrounding neighborhoods, there are, it doesn't change. I don't think it would change in fact, it'd probably be more amenable to neighbors to have single family rather than another townhome units. So I don't think there would be any major impact upon the zoning map or the intention of this portion of town.
So we were probably borderline spot zoning when we changed it.
No, I mean, when it was already C2 there, so it's basically kind of a situation where the situation there is that there were commercially zoned areas there, and there were also high density residential zone areas there. So it basically, you could do both. It's just,
Jonathan, could you?
Michelle,
point
did you
to
get that
the
on
map
tape
so
that where
they
he
know
said
where
we
it's
could
at?
do both, didn't he?
yeah, so right here, if you see, you already had existing C2, and this is right off the highway. So C2 can be it's mainly remember the exact term, it's the highway business district. So it's to allow businesses off of Highway 41, it's the intention of C2. So when you rezoned it from R3 to C2 I think last year, it was still within the intention of the zoning district of C2. When rezoning it back from C2 to R3, it's still within the intention of the zoning district of R3. It's kind of a situation where this is kind of a special piece of property where it could be, depending on what you put there, it could be conducive to both high density and commercial use.
Okay.
His answer is yes. All right. Public comments.
When did you say that we could have a second?
As soon as this is changed to R3, I'll be investing money
Okay,
into developing
okay.
a site. And it's pretty much a plat, a subdivision plat is what has to happen. Yes, ma'am.
Further comments, public?
Just a reminder that if you choose to do this, that you'll want to go through those questions in 1207C based on our workshop. But I think Jonathan's right. It's consistent with what happens in the area.
Further comments, discussions? Want to take it to vote? Go
You're
ahead.
gonna subdivide it into 8 lots, and there'll be 3 homes on each lot, right?
No, so there'll be one home on each lot.
1 home on each lot.
So
8
you're
homes.
looking at 8 homes.
8 homes. Okay.
Yeah, and as the developer, I do plan to build some of those myself. I may sell the lots, but they will be of quality construction.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Like the three he was
Yes, sir.
referencing earlier was 3 bedrooms, a 3-bedroom, single-family house. So there'll be
Right.
3 bedrooms for a single family.
And there will be an HOA developed as well in that process.
Well, I live adjacent to it, so it's just a traffic thing, but I don't think there'll be any traffic problems.
Alec?
I have a motion. I move that the planning commission find, in the absence of a general plan, that in accordance with section 1207C of the zoning ordinance, amending the zoning ordinance as requested does not violate the legal grounds for zoning provisions, that there would be no adverse effects upon adjoining or adjacent property owners unless any such effect could be justified by overwhelming public good or welfare, and that no one property owner or small group of property owners will benefit materially from the change to the detriment of the general public. And on that basis, that the planning commission recommend the adoption of the ordinance submitted in our agenda materials to rezone this tract.
Thank you. Commissioner Mosley just read 1207C
And that was a motion.
and made a motion.
I second.
For those that have not heard that before, it's going to be mandatory that we ask and address specific questions on these changes. I have a second from the mayor. Any comments at all? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Any old business that we need to bring back up? If not, new business. Campgrounds in C2 and C3 as used by special exemption zoning ordinance amendment as requested by the council. We have revisited this. Jonathan pre-read that ordinance. Discussion points on that, commissioners. Anything? Public comments? How do you wish to proceed?
I have a motion.
Motion?
Since I have the only copy of
Right.
1207C, I move that the planning commission, in the absence of a general plan, find that the proposed amendment does not violate the legal grounds for zoning provisions, that it would cause no adverse effects upon adjoining or adjacent property owners unless those can be justified by the overwhelming public good or welfare, and that no one property owner or small group of property owners will benefit materially from the change to the detriment of the general public, and that the proposed zoning ordinance submitted in our agenda materials be recommended to the council.
And further comments or follow-ups?
Need a second.
I haven't got a first yet.
Is there a motion?
You made the motion.
You did?
Yes.
I made a motion.
And Dan, you seconded?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Discussions? Public or commissioners? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Any new business that we need to address in this meeting? Any comments from commissioners? Any discussion on 1207C?
Will that be posted?
I'm glad it's back.
Is that the same thing that was taken away?
It was not taken away legally, and it still exists.
Ah, interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Doesn't mean it won't be taken away, but at this point in time, it's still a law on the books, and we are going to try to follow the law. So,
All right.
further comments or discussions? All right. Anybody want to go home, they need to say so.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor? All opposed? Thank you.